What's going on, everybody? I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and you can see that I am in beautiful Boston. I'm chilling in my hotel, but I'm never really out of work. There's no days off here at the Time Teller channel, so I'm always filming something. Even when I'm on vacation, I'm working. You can see part of the beautiful downtown Boston skyline behind me. We're actually like overlooking the Boston Common. Very cool. And it's very nice to be back in my old stomping grounds of New England. But today, I just wanted to take some time and jump on here and remind you guys that I'm never wrong, okay? I keep having to remind you that I'm never wrong. And just because I may have a change of heart when it comes to certain things, doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just means that I have matured and humbled myself, allowing myself to acknowledge a valid new opinion while broadening my horizons and transcending past stubborn, prideful feelings of rigidity, thus bettering myself and transforming into a more adaptable man. Had to take note of that. See? I'm not wrong. I'm humble. But I was wrong about Tudor. Kind of. It is 10:58 p.m. Let's get down to business. Real quick, guys, I wanted to take a moment and thank today's sponsor, Andar. So you guys know I've been traveling a bunch because my episodes recently have been filmed in like a bunch of different locations, and Andar has made it much easier for me because instead of carrying one of my thicker, kind of more expensive designer wallets with a hoity-toity brand name, I can carry this, my Andar Pilot, and it's a fraction of the price of like my BV wallet, which again might have a nice designer name, but when I'm going in and out of airports, I don't really care about that. I care about something that's going to hold everything I need securely, snugly. It's going to keep it protected, and it still looks pretty darn cool. So back here, you have a cash strap. It can hold up to 15 bills. If you don't carry cash, you can put your business cards or whatever back there. Here, you have one slot that you can carry whatever cards you want. Maybe you put your ID here. I have my AAA card, which I just realized is expired. And here, this is where the magic happens, literally. You can put up to 7 cards in this internal slot, and the Andar Pilot, which is this model, has this button. You pull it, and your cards come shooting out the top. Now, they're retained in here. They're not going to go flying out. But what's really cool, I chose these 3 cards deliberately. Number 1, my ID, because I always have my ID on me. Number 2, my Porsche Club of America card, because I'm a pretentious prick and I want to show off that I have 2 Porsches. And then 3, my Apple MasterCard. Why did I choose this for the demonstration? Well, this card is metal, and it's kind of thicker than a normal credit card, and it's very, very, like, perfectly fine in this. It doesn't muck up the mechanism. It doesn't slide out. I can shake this thing around and it's retained in here. Nothing's gonna fall out, and it works every time. It's very, very convenient, and again, no matter what credit card you use, this wallet will accommodate it. So yeah, 7 cards in here, 1 in here, up to 15 bills back here, full grain leather, anodized aluminum in here, RFID protected, and it's a fraction of the price of a designer wallet, and you can actually rely on this. So Andar, thank you for sponsoring the channel. I will leave a link to this product and many more of theirs in the description below. Click that link and tell them the Time Teller sent you. All right, so jokes aside, let me start off by saying I wasn't really wrong about Tudor because all my complaints, at least most of them, still stand. And again, these are like objective truths. First complaint, they make mostly Black Bay variants. Like the majority of their current catalog, just different iterations of the same watch. Second complaint, snowflake hands obscure more of the dial than other handset types. Now, the subjective part is I don't like that. And the third complaint is that there are regular QC issues with Tudor releases, like borderline recalls sometimes, and that doesn't really instill trust. I guess that second part is subjective, but the QC issues, that's like an objective thing. But I also gotta stand by my praise of Tudor, because the things I like about them also are still true. First thing I like, the Pelagos. probably one of the best, if not, better sports watches on the market. When it comes to dive watches, that's like the first thing you should consider if you want something with a really competent water resistance rating, full titanium, and probably one of the best bracelets on the market. Again, one of my favorite divers. I don't own one currently, but it's definitely a Tudor that I would like to own. And the next thing I've always said is that the North Flag is one of the coolest field watches ever made. It's like a really cool modern take on a field watch. Not your conventional design, but still cool nonetheless. And I'm gonna add another compliment on the list when it comes to Tudor. This new Tudor Ranger is amazing. Now, I was able to get one in my office recently thanks to one of my channel members, Mike. Again, I have the best viewers in the world. He bought this watch. He got it and wore it for like maybe a couple days, and he's like, hey, I just sent it to your P.O. box, go have fun with it. And I'm like, what? Thank you. Now, at the time of filming, I've spent about 2 weeks with the watch, and I can tell you I'm incredibly impressed. The case has very nice dual finishing, and it's not obnoxious. It's not that there's some brush surfaces and then the polished surfaces are like these big, like flashy, huge swaths of the case. That's not it. It's that most of it is brushed, especially on the flat sides of the case, but then on the edges, there's very nice polished sections, and it just looks, again, like there's a ton of detail and effort put into the watch. It almost makes you feel a little bit reluctant to use this as a field watch because of how nicely the case is finished. Now, if I had to compare this watch to a watch that I've had in my collection for some time, it would be the Oris Big Crown Pro Pilot. And it's not because, Oris and Tudor are equivalent in any way. I'm not trying to make any generalizations about the two watchmakers. It's just that those two specific watches seem to wear very, very similarly, and for good reason. Both watches have simple execution, right? Dark dials, no bells and whistles, no frills outside of, a date complication on the Big Crown Pro Pilot. Easy time telling, very robust builds on both watches, and all around simplicity and very nicely executed upon on both sides. All right, guys, so looking at the specs, this watch is 39 by 47.75 millimeters and 12 millimeters thick. You're getting a 100-meter water resistance rating with a very smooth threaded crown. You're getting a smooth satin brushed steel bezel, no actuation of any kind there. You are getting a domed sapphire crystal, a steel bracelet, or a hybrid strap, or this really cool kind of textile strap. I think it's potentially elastic. I actually don't know what that last variant is, but this one is that very nice hybrid strap. You are getting a manufacturer in-house MT5402 COSC automatic movement with approximately 70 hours for that power reserve. All in all, very impressive specs for a very wearable watch. Now, I've said numerous times on this channel that the Oris Big Crown Pro Pilot is one of my favorite watches I've ever owned. But what about this new Tudor Ranger? Well, for that, let's jump into the pros and cons. Pros. Super light, very, very wearable without feeling cheap. Again, one plus is that because this is a field watch, you don't want it to be super cumbersome or like a big thing to wear on the wrist. And this kind of disappears on the wrist. And I know a lot of times watch reviewers will say that, but truly, this watch is big enough to tell time quickly, but it's not cumbersome. It won't get hung up on your sleeve or any gear you might be carrying with you if you are to use this as an actual field watch, but it doesn't feel cheap. Again, we mentioned it earlier, the incredible case finishing, it's just superb. Next pro is that the factory hybrid strap is very, very comfortable. I wasn't sure about that one, but the second I put it on, I loved it. Next pro, decent lume, all around actually. And the final pro is actually probably my favorite part about the watch. The crown is incredibly smooth. Seriously, it's silky smooth threading and unthreading. It's just, it feels so good. But the watch isn't perfect, so let's get into the cons. First con, it isn't actually one that I see because I tend to like faux patination, faux patina, faux patination, whatever you want to say. But you guys might complain about it. And I always put faux patina in the con section because it seems like, according to my comment section, a lot of people really don't like fake patination. Again, I think it adds character. I think I really like it. Next con would be that I personally still think a 36mm variant would be more true to the Ranger name and would be a very welcome addition to the collection, but I'm not gonna complain. Which brings me to the final con. It's a Tudor. I hate saying that I like this Tudor as much as I do, because it is a Tudor. Jokes aside, all in all, okay, did this watch, this one new release from Tudor, change my opinion of Tudor as a whole? No, because again, the issues that I have with Tudor as a watchmaker still exist. But I am very glad to see them release something that doesn't fall under the Black Bay category. But they do have a long way to go before I start considering them as one of my favorite watchmakers. But when it comes to this one watch, this Tudor Ranger, I'm okay saying, yeah, it might be one of my favorites. And with that said, you know, would I add this Tudor Ranger to my personal collection in spite of all the issues I see with Tudor? Absolutely. I think that this is an amazing watch, and I think the one thing I'd like you to take away from this review is that although you might have your own opinions about watchmakers, and although you may see trends and you may acknowledge certain downfalls certain watchmakers have, you should judge watches on a watch-to-watch basis. You know, I'm very tongue-in-cheek on this channel, but even on the positive side, you know, there's watchmakers that I truly love. Cartier being one of them, probably one of my favorite watchmakers. Seiko, again, one of my favorite watchmakers that I'm very, very critical of. So even if you love a watchmaker, try not to speak too generally about them. Try not to look at them too generally, and try to look at things on a watch-to-watch basis, because chances are, you know, even if you love a watchmaker, they're not going to get it right all the time. And even if you hate a watchmaker, they're not going to get it wrong all the time. So, you know, Seiko, I love them. I'm incredibly critical of them. Tudor, tend not to like them, but there's 3 watches now that I absolutely love: the Pelagos, the North Flag, and this new Ranger. And to wrap it up, this new Ranger is a perfect example of the cross-section where functionality and beauty meet, and they make a product that's super duper wearable, very, very, you know, robust, and something that you won't have to baby, and something that you can treat as a tool while still being able to appreciate the beauty while it's on your wrist. So yeah, not everything has to be set in stone when we're looking at watches and watchmakers, guys. Have fun with the hobby, have your opinions, don't be scared to express your opinions, because God knows I don't hold anything back. But also, you know, if I can love a Tudor, then you know, hopefully you can look past some of the issues you have with certain watchmakers and maybe find a gem in their catalog. And in fact, you know what I want you to do? Leave a comment and let me know what watchmaker you tend not to like, but then tell me which watch you actually do like from them. Maybe it's Ulysses Nardin, or maybe it's Seiko that you tend not to like, but there's one Seiko you like. Leave me that comment. I think it'd be really fun, and maybe I'll read some of them on the next episode. How about that? All right, guys, I will catch you on the next one. Thank you to my channel members for supporting the channel. Thank you to Mike for sending me this watch. I don't want to send it back, but I will. And yeah, guys, I have the best viewers in the world. Thank you for supporting me on this channel, on the podcast, on the T3 Time to Drive channel. Again, we're uploading once a month on T3 Time to Drive. We're uploading almost weekly on the podcast, things that keep me up at night, and we're doing the same upload schedule as we always have here on the Time Teller channel. So thank you so much for hanging out with me on everything I'm trying to do here with the Time Teller brand. Love you guys. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay blessed. I'm Jory Goodman, the Time Teller, and always remember, I didn't invent time. I just tell it.